Well, welcome to another episode of Midlife Mavens. I'm your host, Denise, and this is your co host, Cynthia. Welcome to Selfish Not Sorry, Why Midlife Needs You First.
Mm.
Feeling guilty for wanting a little more me time in midlife. In this episode, we explore why being a little selfish isn't selfish at all. It's survival. It's pop in your AirPods, join us as we share real stories, laugh through the struggles, and offer our practical solutions to help you set boundaries, reclaim your joy, and thrive unapologetically.
All right, so let's dive into this often overlooked truth about midlife selfishness because I'm telling you, it's the perfect time to embrace that little bit of selfishness after spending years of putting everybody first, whether it was your family, your career, your in-laws, whatever it might be, community, your church. It's time, and you have been like, you feel that angst just like building up, and like your throat is tight, and you just like, I don't know what's wrong is you have taken on like the duties of the world, and it's time for you to take on some stuff for yourself.
Mhm.
This isn't about like, oh well, I went and sat on the couch for 45 minutes and doom scrolled. No, 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 no. This is like, what can you do so that those feelings of feeling overwhelmed, feeling invisible, the burnout, the resentment, all the litany of stuff that you start feeling because you start finally recognizing that it's going on? What can you do to start being selfish and more generous to yourself? Okay.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk about how and why. This is not an indulgent thing. This isn't like oh, I'm going to the day spa and don't contact me. No, 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 no. This is deeper than that.
Yeah, we need to really start to do this from like we love ourselves. We were taught that putting everybody else in front of us made us selfless, and yet the and we like and the, if you ask people what are you grateful for, more often than not, you don't even make the list. Right? And so it's really coming back to yourself because it's not about being selfish, because this is where the burnout comes in. This is where we become resentful. And it's really difficult for family to understand why all of a sudden, why is she coming unhinged? What the heck is the matter with her? Blah, 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 blah. And because you've always done it. And, you might have started doing some of these things in the beginning because you wanted to, you enjoyed it, but then it just built and built and built. And as our hormones change in midlife, we really actually don't have the capacity
Yeah.
to take on what we took on before. Our nervous systems are a little different, our energy levels are different, our hormone levels are different, and because I used to think that I used to be able to do this, that, and the other thing, and I kind of thought that I was just not having I just didn't have a good routine because my kids were getting older, they were getting out of high school, moving out of the house and going to college and what have you, and I just thought I just didn't have a routine anymore. And I kept blaming it on the fact that I didn't have a routine anymore, and the reality of it was I didn't have a brain anymore to be able to handle these things.
Yeah. No, it, and then we get down on ourselves because we don't have the routine down, or because there's all these things taking place and we're just like, I'm just tired. But then after like this extended period of time of telling yourself like, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. If you were to stop and take pause and like take a look at all of the stuff that you were doing,
Mhm.
and then went, ooh, would I ask somebody else to do all of these things? Probably not.
Oh my
Probably
God.
not. You probably think
Great.
like, oh, if they could do like three of those things, that would be fantastic. And I will do the other 97. It's okay.
Right. Yeah, great point. Because, yeah, if you wouldn't be able to turn this to-do list over to someone else to accomplish, why do you think you should be able to accomplish this? Or I will put things on the list and then I'm like, wonder why I didn't get them done. And I'm like, because there was 14 things and each one took an hour and somewhere in there you went to bed, you know?
Yes. Absolutely. There's 14 things, and then you think I can get it done, but hey, guess what? Those 14 things that once upon a time, took you 4 hours to do, it takes longer now. Just face it.
Yeah,
Just
it does. It does. And, and with bringing that up, it's not like, oh, well, you're just older. This is how it is. It's learning how to navigate your own energy. And that's where, redefining selfish, if you will,
yes.
comes into play because it's not about being selfish. It's about self-care, and caring for yourself is not the same as neglecting others. My son asked me a couple weeks ago to babysit. He got tickets for a comedy show, but it was late at night.
Yeah.
I'm not good late at night. I'm like, I know this is going to sound crazy to some people because they're like, what in the world is wrong with you? I get it. But I'm like, if you need me to show up at 6 or 6:30 in the morning, I am more likely to be able to do that than to show up your house at 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night and babysit because you have a 10 o'clock, tickets. I'm like, and so it's just understanding how you operate. It's not that you're not unwilling to do something. It's just like, well, this is the parameter that works for me.
Yes. Yes. This is how I can operate effectively these days. That's that like you're shifting your labor and how you do things. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually, gosh darn, if you actually think about it, you're like, I should have done this like 2 decades ago. I probably would not be at this like frazzled point if I would have implemented this a long time ago.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And recognizing that you have taken on too much is another thing. That also it leads into why it takes you a little bit longer, is because you're recognizing, guess what? I have to work in a break to eat, use the bathroom,
Yeah.
get off my feet for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and previously you just be like, I went all day and I survived on iced coffee and adrenaline.
Yeah. And you could do that,
You could, and not anymore.
and now I'm like, I either need another iced coffee or a snack or a nap or all three. Some days I'm not sure.
All of the above.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Another thing is like what Denise was alluding to about, she had to tell her son no. And it wasn't no, I will never watch your kids. It was no, I can't because I'm not good at night. So it's okay if you set a boundary and you say no. Oh my gosh, no is a complete sentence. But
Yeah.
if somebody else told us no, we'd be like, oh, okay, I understand. But if you say no to somebody, they're not freaking out. You're freaking out on the inside. So it's okay.
Right.
Practice it with me. No.
I know. Well, and also remembering that when you do set a boundary for yourself, that is self-care, and you have to do it without guilt,
Be consistent.
right? Not like, okay, well, one time I can do it at 10 o'clock at night, but then the next time I can't, right? I mean, unless that is really true. But, again, you've got to work with what is best for you. If you want to be your most effective,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to work within your parameters there. And
Yes.
um and what do you want your ripple effect to be, right? Do you want to be, send out a ripple of effect of, yeah, I agree to this, and then I'm going to begrudgingly go over there at 8 o'clock at night and grump and complain and be grouchy and blah, 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 and then be frustrated because the kids didn't go to bed on time or whatever the case might be. And actually, I don't, they go to bed when they go to bed. I don't, we got some Mimi time here. We got some Mimi privileges sometimes. So there's that. And, but it's like, how your well-being can positively affect your family, your work, and your community. Because when we're tired and overwrought and burned out and overwhelmed and all of those things, we can't be effective.
No.
You
No,
know,
that's the absolute truth of it. Like we think, okay, just because I can squeeze 14 things, onto my to-do list and get them done, doesn't mean that there's not going to be, the ripple effect of the next day. Well, guess what? Now the 10 that I had to do, I just don't have it in me. I've worn myself out.
exactly.
And we're getting into like cold and flu season. And guess what? This is part of not taking care of ourselves, is then when we, suppress our immune system, And we wound up, catching something simple that had we taken better care of ourselves, we would be either, have a better immune response, or we wouldn't even know we had the sniffles.
Right, exactly. Well, and it kind of goes with, if you haven't watched our previous show, go back and check that out. We was talking about family estrangement. But one of the things is during the holidays, you might agree to, oh my gosh, well, you've always made blah, 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 and that's great. And then they want you to do the and this and that. And the next thing you know, you're making like 18 things. And it's like, you know what? You have to realize, like, do I really want to make 18 things?
No.
Maybe I don't. Maybe I
Yeah.
don't.
Maybe it's time for somebody else to take on the tradition or learn it or start a new tradition.
Right, exactly. And so it's really just kind of, and if so and so is going to be disappointed because you don't have a certain dish, invite them over and teach them how to make it,
Absolutely.
right? And
Absolutely.
I know my son-in-law's mom she's a great cook also, and I'm having her make my tamales because it is just not, I mean, I've made them, I know how. It is labor intensive and, and she makes them and sells them. I'm like, I would happily pay her for that,
Yep.
right? So it's like, okay, so we still get to have tamales. I'm just not making them.
Right. Right. This is about like, okay, so some of the solutions. Start delegating, you
Yes.
know, you know, uh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Believe it or not. Like we think it's going to be this bigger issue if we delegate it or if we just skip it entirely. It's not the case. So, okay. So let's start out by delegating. Okay. Let's also start with reframing that guilt around saying no, and thinking that people are going to be disappointed. Instead, let's look at it that, we're not being selfish. We are preserving ourselves. We are honoring our peace and our time.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
You have any other suggestions of like how to solve, like problem solve on this?
Yeah. So one of the things that I know I do for myself every day, and this really is a non-negotiable for me, I meditate every single morning. And I realize not everybody can do that. However, meditation is just a word to me. Now, you can go into, doing different things, but what it is it's about starting your day from peace and quiet, not getting on your phone, checking emails, looking at text messages. It's not about that. It is about taking, 3 to 5 minutes. If you've got longer, even better. But take 3 to 5 minutes and just sit with yourself and just breathe and ask yourself, how do I feel today?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah. Do I feel like I'm going to conquer the world, or do I feel like I just need to kind of
Take
step back a little bit? Yeah. No, I'm with you. And it doesn't have to be, this quote unquote meditation Zen moment. It could just be that you got up while it was still quiet in the house and you had your coffee and peace, and you sat with your dog in your lap or your cat or whatever, and you just started your day without having any demands on you. And that goes like, don't even put the demands on yourself. Like just have that little coffee tea ritual. There's your
Yes, there's
self-preservation beginning.
100% your moment of Zen. And I know we've got some mamas out there that are in midlife and they might have adolescent children or teenagers at home, and you're like, or even toddlers, you might even have toddlers at home. And it might just be like, how in the hell am I supposed to come up with like 2 minutes? And it's like, you do.
You do.
You do. I had 3 kids, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but one of the things that I did have to commit to, and I realize there's going to be nights where, nobody sleeps and it's going to be a lot harder. And there's not always a steady diet of that, right? And so I started to train myself to get up 15 minutes before my kids because even when they were little, I would get up and I would make my coffee and I would sit in the chair or at the table, and I would just have just me and my thoughts and my journal, or sometimes it was just me and my thoughts and my coffee, or sometimes it was me, my coffee and my journal,
Yeah.
because we didn't have access to the internet on our cell phones by then, and so I look back at that and it was really very peaceful.
Yeah.
And if you are somebody that wants to do a meditation, but you need music or something, cue it up the night before so you don't get
Mm,
distracted on your phone in the morning. All you do is just hit the button and it's ready to go because you're not scrolling looking, oh, what song sounds good or what's that? That's just your brain's way of, oh, we're on the phone, here we go. And it's like, it's no, 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 no. It's about, so set yourself up for success for that 2 to 5 minutes in the morning.
absolutely. Another way is, and so one of my friends does this. She does the gets up early thing, 2 hours before anybody else in the house is awake. Like she's up at 5 a.m. But this is because she knows in order for her to have a successful day, she needs that time to herself. She needs to go down in the basement and work out. She needs her quiet coffee time without any interruptions or demands from her children or her spouse.
Mhm.
Um, but she also lets her family know, do not come at me during this time. This is my time. I
Mhm.
give you your time. You have your time, whether you are, playing on your Xbox or you're outside, you're with your friends, or to our spouse, like you are doing your, your guy thing down, playing your video games or whatever.
Right,
This is my block of time. And this doesn't mean that I don't love you. This just means that I need to start my day peacefully. Okay. If
right,
you want me to be the best version of me, allow me this moment. And it doesn't have to be like hers where it's a 2 hour block. It could be give me 10 minutes
right.
and I'm good. I will be great. It will be golden.
Right. Well, and to kind of go back to what your friends like, I got to have this, her non-negotiable.
Yeah,
And if you start with that, your family understands that.
completely.
And I get if you've never done that. Now all of a sudden we're at, 40, 50, 60 years old, and all of a sudden you're like, don't talk to me for the first 20 minutes. Your family's like, what the heck? What are you talking about?
What
Right.
am I supposed to do?
Right. And it's like, because I get up early and I get up very early because I start work very early and I'm like your friend. I need my time in the morning.
Yes.
And so because I do some other things on the side sometimes, so dog sit, so that I have the right amount of time. I get up at the same time because for me, that works for me.
Yeah.
I realize everybody's different, but I get up so that I can make sure I have that time. And that's how I set a boundary for myself in order to be successful, that I'm not scrambling out the door. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be late for work or this or that or the other thing, right? Sometimes I have a 5 minute drive to work. Sometimes it's 20, depending on where I'm at. And, I recognize that I need that time.
Yes. Yeah. Um, so one thing that I have found in my latter years is that I need to be very cognizant of doing the things that make me happy, not doing all the things for everybody else that makes them happy. So and I don't think it's selfish either. I don't think that if I, do a craft project or, I decorate something or whatever, I don't find that selfish. I think that this is just the thing that's part of me. One of the things that I actually love to do is I love to read like fantasy smut.
There you go.
So if I am like, curled up on the couch and I've got my book, my family knows like she's into it and then, don't bother her because you're going to make her lose her place and then she's going to have to reread it and be like,
Dang it. I know. Well, and it is about really understanding what brings you joy, right? Like one of the things that you and I were going through this like all summer. I'm like, what did you bake? What did you bake? What did you, right? And so this is why our booties got a little big this summer. I know everybody talks about their summer bod. Well, we got a summer bod, just not the one we were going for.
nope, I got the Pillsbury Doughboy summer bod.
So it was more of a, oh my gosh. But it's like it's bringing back those hobbies. Maybe you used to crochet, maybe you used to needlepoint or cross stitch, or I don't know, maybe you like to garden. And, it's just bringing that joy back into your life, remembering what it's like, and I like to, bring back your inner child. What did she like to do for fun?
What did she like to do or what did she want to do but couldn't because like either the finances weren't there to be able to do it or mom said you can't use the kitchen when I'm not home or whatever it was. Like you're the adult here, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, turns out you can honor your inner child and be the grown up.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Because, I mean, when we were teenagers, everybody's like, I can't wait to move out of the house. I don't like it here. And then you get out there and you're like, what in the world was I thinking? And meanwhile, if you think back on it, your parents are like, it's not that great out there. And you're like, oh yeah, it is. It's awesome. And you're like, you get out there and you're like, oh my God, they were right.
Yes, they were
So,
right. They were right.
reframing, your guilt from, saying no to yourself and then, and investing in your joy.
Yes, absolutely. And then the last thing, some therapy. Whether that is like you actually like seek out a therapist to talk to about like some of the stuff that you've been holding on to and maybe repressing for a couple of decades, or maybe that is that you have a close friend like Denise and I, where we just voice text each other during the day and like, you're not going to freaking believe this. And we leave each other, these long-winded texts back and forth throughout the day. Maybe that's your form of therapy as well. One of my very close friends yesterday told me, you're my therapist. And I was like, you have a problem, man.
Well, and I think one of the other things that really is good about that is that when you're going to lean on somebody like that, you also have to lean on somebody that's actually going to call you out on your BS.
Yes, yes.
Right.
And also tell you that when you're at Target and you're like, should I get this? And they're like, put that down. That's just crap.
Yeah, you don't need that. That's like,
You don't need that. You've got 14 others at home. Dust those off.
and what's the difference between those and the one you want to buy? Because it's easier because you don't have to go into a box in the garage,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean,
no, I'm with you. Yeah. Be sure that your support system isn't somebody who's going to, join in the chaos and be like,
yeah, get it, girl, get it, girl.
It's okay. But you also need those moments where they're like, you think that's the best idea right now?
Yeah, exactly. All right. And sometimes you do need to have that person that's going to listen to you because you do need to just kind of blah, 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 blah. And a lot of times, because especially with the voice note, you can go back and really hear yourself and you're like, oh, and a lot of times you can actually even solve your own issue.
Denise is referring to herself.
Yes, I am. I'm very good about that. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, I figured that out right now.
I'm laughing because she will do this. She'll leave me a message and then she'll go, oh wait, now that I'm saying it out loud, I've got it. Although I am guilty of it, but Denise does this far more often, and it cracks me up that she problem solves as she's leaving me the voice text. And it's like you can just watch her brain go from 0 to 60, and like I
go. I know it's a beautiful brain.
I know, this is why I love you.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, should I be medicated for this ADHD or not?
I saw a shirt the other day, I think you and your sister need, and it was 2 shirts, and one was like, undiagnosed, but figuring it out. And then the other one was like, diagnosed, still don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, that would be perfect, actually.
Yeah. And it probably showed up in my feed because of some of the conversations that we've had.
Probably. Yeah. So the other thing that you can also do is, find a peer group that you want to be a part of, whether it's a yoga class or a spiritual, like a sound bath or, things like that you can really bring that joy and that peacefulness to you. We've talked about this in a previous show about how our friendships and things change in midlife. We don't always see eye to eye anymore. We have different thoughts. We have different beliefs. Everybody's going through their own things. And it's helping us to understand that midlife is normal. What you're going through is normal. You aren't broken. You are evolving. You're just shifting and changing. And that is one of the things that is really, truly beautiful about midlife is that we get to really get into, oh, I'm really okay.
Yeah.
With this, or I'm really okay with me, because the one thing that we have learned at this point in our life is that you only change if you want to.
Absolutely.
Right? You can have all of the thoughts and opinions and the you should do's for everyone else, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to make those changes and those choices for yourself.
Yep. 100%. All right, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this week's episode. If you wouldn't mind, like, subscribe, leave a comment for us. Let us know, what is it that you are selflessly doing for yourself this week, this month? You know, it's gratitude season. Let's be grateful for all that wonderful life lessons and the things that we are learning and looking forward to as we mature.
Yeah. And so we can support you in this selflessness.
Absolutely. All right, guys. See you next week.
Here.
Bye.